Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, the expansion of world manufacturing just keeps rolling on. Firstly, in the US, a key gauge of factory activity cooled modestly for a second straight month in November, but the index was still very positive. A second PMI is not quite so elevated, but it's still expanding well. That same survey feeds into a global survey that is very positive indeed. In fact, it is at an 80-month high. The global manufacturing sector has strengthened, with rates of expansion in output, new orders and employment all hitting multi-year highs. Price pressures are high too, however, with import costs and output charges rising at an accelerated rate and above long-term average rates. Both Japan and Europe help push the trend higher, although China is a laggard. This broad expansion shows up in world trade. Global air freight grew by 5.9% year-on-year in October, the first month of the traditional strong period for demand seen every fourth quarter. It was up 5% in the Asia-Pacific region. Reports from industry indicate that freight demand has been very strong in November too, amid tight supply conditions. However, the rate of growth is slowing and may indicate the peak is nearing. In Japan, inflation rose in August, industrial output rose more than expected, and demand for labour was high, its strongest in over 40 years. Japan is on a bit of a roll, and we should not forget it is the world's third largest economy and our fourth largest export destination, one that grew by 7% over the past year. Over the weekend, and as expected, China issued new rules for payday lending, banning overlending, repeat borrowing, and banning violent debt collection at normally high interest rates and privacy violations. They also ended issuing any more licenses for that industry. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year yield sank back a little bit at the end of last week and is now at 2.36%. The price of crude oil is a little higher, now just over $58 a barrel, while the Brent benchmark is over $63.50 a barrel. And the price of gold is up $7 to $1,280 an ounce. The Kiwi dollar ended last week a little firmer. We're now at 68.9 US cents. On the cross rates, we're at 90.5 Aussie cents, and against the euro, 57.9 euro cents. That puts us back up to 71.6. And Bitcoin is sharply higher again today, now at 11,730, which is another record, and just over 17,000 New Zealand dollars. Over the weekend, the American derivatives regulator said it will allow both CME Group and CBOE Global Markets to list Bitcoin futures. If you thought you'd seen it all, now you can have tulip derivatives. Bitcoin is a currency that virtually no one uses, however. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.